The North Sea, May 31st, 1916, cold, gray, and unforgiving. An eerie silence hung over the water, broken only by the rhythmic churning of warships. Thousands of men aboard these steel behemoths braced themselves. They knew what lurked over the horizon. The British Grand Fleet, the most powerful navy the world had ever seen, was hunting its German rival, the High Seas Fleet. Tension crackled in the air, thick enough to taste. Sailors, their faces grim, checked their equipment, their prayers whispered into the wind. They were about to enter the crucible of history, a battle that would decide the fate of nations. This was Jutland. The British, confident in their numerical superiority, sought a decisive victory, a knockout blow to break the German naval blockade and assert their dominance at sea. The Germans, aware of their disadvantage, aimed for a different kind of victory, to inflict heavy losses, to wound the British Lion so deeply that it would think twice before challenging them again. Their stage was set, the actors in position. The curtain was about to rise on the greatest naval battle the world had ever seen. Shortly after 3:30 p.m., the first shots rang out. The sea erupted in a deafening cacophony of fire and fury as the British battlecruisers, led by the mighty Lion, engaged their German counterparts. Huge shells, some weighing over a ton, screamed across the sky, each one a messenger of death and destruction. The battlecruisers, designed for speed and firepower, traded blows with terrifying intensity. The sea boiled around them as colossal explosions ripped through the air. Ships disappeared in a blinding flash of light and smoke, their mangled remains swallowed by the unforgiving sea. One such explosion rocked the British battlecruiser Indefatigable. A direct hit from the German battlecruiser Von der Tann detonated her ammunition magazine, sending her to the bottom in a matter of seconds. Over 1,000 men perished in an instant, their sacrifice a grim testament to the unforgiving nature of naval warfare. As the battlecruisers slugged it out, the main fleets, the heart of both navies, were closing in. Admiral Jellicoe, commander of the British Grand Fleet, knew the importance of deploying his ships effectively. He needed to cross the German T to bring his full firepower to bear on the enemy's vulnerable leading ships. Admiral Scheer, commanding the German High Seas Fleet, was a cunning and resourceful opponent. Recognizing the danger his fleet was in, he executed a daring maneuver. Twice he turned his entire fleet away from the approaching British, hoping to lure them into the path of his submarines and waiting destroyers. The British, wary of the trap, held back, their caution allowing the Germans to escape the full brunt of their firepower. Jellicoe was criticized for his cautious approach, but he had avoided falling into Scheer's trap. The chase was on, the two massive fleets steaming south, the roar of their guns echoing across the North Sea. At the forefront of the British advance steamed Rear Admiral David Beatty's battlecruisers. They were the hammer to Jellicoe's anvil, tasked with fixing the German fleet in place until the main British fleet could deliver the decisive blow. But Beatty, known for his aggressive nature, would soon face a test of fire and steel. The German battlecruisers, though outnumbered, were no pushovers. Their guns were just as powerful, their crews just as determined. And they had one crucial advantage: better armor-piercing shells. These shells, designed to penetrate the thin armor of British battlecruisers, found their mark with terrifying accuracy. The British battlecruiser Queen Mary, her decks ablaze, was torn apart by a series of catastrophic explosions. Her demise mirrored that of the Indefatigable, sending another 1,000 souls to a watery grave. The sea around the British battlecruisers became a maelstrom of fire and steel as the German gunners exacted a terrible toll. Section 5. Nightfall. The seas ignite. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the churning sea, the battle reached a fever pitch. The two main fleets finally clashed in a furious exchange of fire, the sky ablaze with the light of thousands of exploding shells. The deafening roar of the guns was punctuated by the cries of the wounded and the dying. Destroyers, nimble and deadly, darted between the behemoths, launching torpedoes in desperate attacks. The sea itself seemed to shudder under the weight of the onslaught. Visibility decreased as night fell, the darkness illuminated by muzzle flashes and burning ships. The chaos of the night favored the Germans. Their torpedo boats, cloaked in darkness, scored several hits on British ships. The British, their formations disordered by the relentless German attacks, were forced to fight a desperate defensive battle. Section 6. A shift in strategy, torpedoes, and destroyers. As darkness enveloped the battlefield, a new kind of warfare emerged. Gone were the long-range gun duels, replaced by close-quarters clashes between destroyers and torpedo boats. These smaller, faster vessels darted through the darkness, launching their deadly payloads at the larger ships. The British, initially caught off guard by the ferocity of the German torpedo attacks, soon rallied. Their own destroyers, armed with torpedoes and quick-firing guns, countered with equal ferocity. The night erupted in a series of chaotic, close-range engagements, the flickering light of muzzle flashes illuminating scenes of unimaginable violence. One such engagement involved the British destroyer Tipperary. Outnumbered and outgunned, she charged into a squadron of German destroyers, her guns blazing. She fought with extraordinary courage, her captain, Commander Evans, refusing to surrender even as his ship was pounded into a burning hulk. The Tipperary eventually sank, taking with her most of her crew. But her sacrifice, and the bravery of her crew, embodied the fighting spirit of both sides during that long, bloody night. Section 7. Heroes of Steel and Sacrifice. Throughout the night, acts of incredible bravery and sacrifice played out against the backdrop of a raging inferno. Men fought with a ferocity born of desperation, their courage fueled by a potent mix of patriotism and fear. One such story involved Seaman Jack Cornwell of the British light cruiser Chester. Stationed at his post in one of the ship's gun turrets, Cornwell remained at his station even as the Chester came under heavy fire. Wounded multiple times, he continued to load and fire his gun until he collapsed, his body riddled with shrapnel. Cornwell, just 16 years old, became a national hero, his story a testament to the extraordinary courage displayed by ordinary men during the horrors of war. On the German side, similar tales of bravery emerged. Petty Officer Wilhelm Heidkamp of the Battlecruiser Lutzow distinguished himself during the battle. When a fire broke out near one of the ship's ammunition magazines, Heidkamp, with complete disregard for his own safety, entered the burning compartment and extinguished the flames, preventing a catastrophic explosion. Heidkamp's actions saved his ship and the lives of hundreds of his comrades. These stories, just a few among many, highlighted the human cost of the battle. Jutland was more than just a clash of steel and explosives. It was a battle fought by individuals, each with their own story, their own hopes and fears. Section 8. Counting the Cost, a Pyrrhic Victory. As dawn broke on June 1st, the guns finally fell silent. The Battle of Jutland, the largest naval battle the world had ever seen, was over. The gray North Sea, now stained with the blood of thousands of sailors, was littered with the wreckage of once mighty warships. The British, though they had suffered heavier losses, had maintained control of the battlefield. The German fleet, battered and bruised, had retreated back to its bases. In strategic terms, Jutland was a British victory, but it was a victory bought at a terrible price. The British lost 14 ships and over 6,000 men. The Germans lost 11 ships and over 2,500 men. Both sides claimed victory, but the truth was far more complex. Jutland was a battle without a clear victor. A bloody stalemate that left both sides emotionally and physically drained. Section 9. Echoes of Jutland, the legacy of the battle. The Battle of Jutland, though tactically inconclusive, had a profound impact on the course of the First World War and on the future of naval warfare. The German high seas fleet, though not destroyed, never again challenged the British for control of the North Sea. The British blockade, a key factor in Germany's eventual defeat, remained in place. Jutland also highlighted the changing nature of naval warfare. The battle marked the end of an era, the last major engagement between fleets of dreadnoughts, those steel titans that had come to symbolize national power. The battle also underscored the growing importance of technology, particularly submarines and aircraft. These new weapons would play an increasingly significant role in future conflicts, forever changing the face of naval warfare. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of Jutland is the story of the men who fought and died in that epic clash. Their courage, their sacrifice, and their stories continue to resonate today, a reminder of the human cost of war and the enduring power of the human spirit. The echoes of Jutland, the clash of steel, and the cries of the fallen continue to remind us of the terrible price of conflict, a price paid not just in ships and statistics, but in the lives of fathers, sons, and brothers lost beneath the waves.